Hi, welcome to part 7 in the AC Basics tutorial series. This one we're going to look at Ohm's law for AC and other things, not just Ohm's law. And the great thing about this video is you already know it. You've already learnt this in the DC Fundamentals series. I'll put the playlist for the DC Fundamental series down below. We learned Ohm's law, Kirchhoff's law, node and mesh analysis, superposition theorem, and all that good stuff that we used for DC. It actually is identical for AC, except we're actually using complex math instead of real math like we did in DC, because in DC there is no AC component. There's no difference between no phase difference between, because there is no phase difference between the voltage and the current, whereas in AC there is. And I'm not kidding when I say it's exactly the same as DC. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at AC Ohm's law. Here's the Ohm's law triangle you're no doubt familiar with. V on top and then I, and instead of R for resistance, we've got Z for impedance, which we learned about in part 6. Now, these are actually should be italicized. It should be like an angle on the V and the I to indicate that these are actually AC and they have a real and an imaginary component. And that's what we learnt about in part 6 when we learnt about impedance. We learned that an impedance Z which is designated by Z. In this case, we've just got a 2, not resistor series, a 2 impedance. And 2 impedances in series here. Impedance, which is measured in ohms, just like resistance is made up of a real component and an imaginary component, which has a phase, basically has a voltage and current relationship with phase angle. And this is in the rectangular form. You can also have it in the polar forms. And the same thing for the voltage over here. Voltages are going to have a real component and an angular component, or an imaginary component. I've put this in the polar form, so that's why it's got the angle with theta, and we've just nominated 0 degrees here, but it can be any other angle. And likewise, the current is going to be a complex component. It's going to have a real and an imaginary part to it. So let's look at this simple series 2 impedance circuit here and calculate the current I using Ohm's law. Now, when we're talking about voltage and currents here, we're talking, in this particular case, sinusoidal waveforms and the RMS value of the waveform. So 100 volts here, this 100 volt source is 100 volts RMS. And if the current was 1 amp, then that'd be 1 amp RMS. And the phase angle, typically when you've got like a source like this, that'll be your reference. So you put that 0 degrees there as the reference angle. But let's calculate I. So to calculate I, of course, in a standard resistor circuit, you just add up the 2 resistors to get the total resistance, and to find current using the Ohm's law triangle, you just cover up the unit you want, in this particular case I, and it's V on Z. So, but we've got 2 impedances. It's hard to remember they're impedances and not resistors. I get tripped up all the time. I'll probably make a mistake in this video. Leave it in the comments down below. Anyway, so we need the total impedance here. And of course, 2 impedances or 2 resistances in series, you just add them up. And that's why we've got them in rectangular form like this, because when we did our complex number maths video, complex numbers are not complex. They're really easy. You need to know that video before watching this. If you're going to add up 2 complex numbers, you want them in rectangular form like this. It's just way easier than polar form like this over here. So let's work this out. ZT here, the total, is Z1 plus Z2. I know that looks like a 2. Often I put like a little thing through the Z to indicate that it's actually a Z. Not that American Z rubbish, so sometimes I do that like it's just a habit. So to add these 2 rectangular complex numbers, real easy. You just add the real parts here, 15 plus 25, that is going to be 40. And then we notice how we've got a negative here. So this impedance is going to be primarily capacitive. That's why we've got a negative in there. And this impedance Z2 is going to be primarily inductive because it's a positive value. So we just add up the complex part, or the imaginary part, the J component of this rectangular form, minus 20 plus 50 is plus, we have to keep including the J in there, plus 30. It's simply minus 20 plus 50 is plus 30. So that is our total impedance of the circuit in complex form in rectangular notation. So we know our voltage now and we know our total impedance here. We want to calculate the current I is V on Z, V on impedance, but V on Z total, so impedance total here. Now, because we're doing a division, if you're doing a division or multiplication, you want numbers in polar form. It's just going to be easier to do it than in rectangular notation like this. So voltage we've already got in our polar form. If we didn't, we would have had to convert it over, but it's 100 volts, angle 0 degrees. But our impedance is in rectangular form, so we have to do rectangular to polar conversion, and you whack that in your confuser here, and it's 50 angle 36.87, positive angle 36.87. And then to divide two complex numbers in polar notation, you should easily know how to do that. You just, the real component here, you just divide them. 100 divided by 50 is 2. That's our current there in amps. And then our phase angle theta here, when you divide, you subtract the angles. So it's 0 degrees minus 36.87 degrees. That gives you, I got it wrong, minus 36.87 degrees in there. So that's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now I'll go and show you how to do rectangular to polar conversion on your confuser here. Good thing about any good scientific calculator is it's going to have a polar to rectangular and rectangular to polar function. And on Casios, you'll typically find that down here on the positive and negative keys. That's what this R to P and P to R thing is on your calculator there. If you've ever seen that and wondered what the heck is that, that's exactly what it's used for. And it makes it really easy to convert between polar and rectangular and vice versa. Now, the first thing you've got to absolutely make sure about is that your calculator is in degrees mode. We can switch modes like that, and if we're in radians mode or we're in gradients mode there, the numbers just aren't going to work because our complex notation is in degrees here. So we have to be in degrees mode on your calculator. So we want the R to P or rectangular to polar button here. It's a shift function. So what we do is we first take our real component. So we go 40 and then we go shift R to P, rectangular to polar. It knows it's in that mode. Now it's waiting for the complex part, which in this case is plus 30. So we just put in 30. If it was minus 30, we would use if it was minus J up here, for example, we would put minus in, but it's not. It's plus 30 like that. And we simply press enter, and that it takes it often might take a second because it's doing a fair bit of maths there. And then it gives us our answer. First, it gives us our real component, 50, like that, and the imaginary component or the angular component in polar form is in the Y register. So we go shift XY like that. Bingo, 36.87 degrees. And that's how you convert rectangular to polar. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And if you want to convert polar form to rectangular form, you do exactly the same thing. You put in the real component first, 50. We do shift polar to rectangular, P to R mode next, and then we put in our angular component, 36.87, and we press enter, and bingo, there we go. It's rounded it a little bit because we rounded the number there, but it's 40, and then the Y register will contain our imaginary part there. It's 30. Simple, huh? So you see how easy that was. It is no different to DC Ohm's law at all, except you've got a complex number instead of just a real number. An impedance is a complex number that is made up of the real component and the imaginary component. With imaginary meaning basically the phase difference between the voltage and the current inside and across that impedance there. So it's simple. It's dead easy. It's exactly the same. And that goes for all of the laws that you learned about in the DC Fundamental series. Kirchhoff's laws, nodal analysis, mesh analysis, Thevenin and equivalent circuits, Norton equivalent circuits, superposition theorem, all of that works exactly the same in AC, except you're using the impedance Z. Lost a calculator. I've got plenty more. Where was I? They're all going to work exactly the same in AC as they did for DC, just using complex numbers. So all of the same maths, all the same working out all the same things you did in the DC fundamentals stuff, it's exactly the same here, except resistors and volt. There's another calculator. I do actually have plenty of them. Turns out, I think it's the angle of the calculator. Angle? Get it? Ha! Mirror weak. So solving AC circuits is a complete nothing burger if you've already done DC, if you already know how all your DC stuff works and all your different techniques for solving things and basic Ohm's law. It's no difference whatsoever. You just got to remember that now you have a voltage and phase relationship for your voltage, your current, and your impedance down here, and hence why they all have a real and an imaginary part, be it in rectangular form or polar form like this. So there's really no value in me going through any of these and doing the working out and explanations for them, because it's exactly the same methodology as before. It's just that you've got complex numbers, which aren't complex at all. So if you enjoyed that, please give it a big thumbs up. As always, discuss it down below and check out the entire playlist series for both the DC and AC fundamental series. Catch you next time.